It has been a bumpy road to get to Scream 7, but we are here, and I don't even want to do a traditional review. I think the most interesting things to say about this movie are spoilery, so we are going to do a full spoiler breakdown here in this video. If you haven't seen the movie, you should probably leave. I don't want to waste any time. I want to talk about the most interesting things right away, and that is the ghost face reveals. So seriously, I'm going to spoil everything. I know some people need 7 warnings before they get it, but I'm really gonna do it. So here we go. Let's begin with all of the spoilers for Scream 7. We have 3, technically, ghost faces in this movie. It's only really 2, but there's a third guy sorta kinda in there a little bit. Carl. We don't really need to talk about Carl much. He's not the kind of guy who would really make it onto like a ghost face ranking. He doesn't have any lines. He dies early on in the movie, which I thought was a fun idea. Killing one of them so early, that was interesting. But the 2 main ghost faces who make it to the end are Anna Camp, who is playing Sidney's neighbor and friend, and Ethan Embry, who is this dude who works at this psychiatric facility. This is one of the worst ghost face reveals ever, which is really disappointing following Scream 6, because that was also one of the worst ghost face reveals. It might have been the worst, and now this is in competition for many, many reasons. The third act was very underwhelming. First of all, just from a story structure perspective, I think this movie really fails with the killer reveals, because so many characters end up getting killed, and that's fun. Because this actually overall has possibly the best collection of kills in the franchise. It's definitely up there. It has some of the best kills we've ever gotten from Scream. And so some of those scenes are fun, and I think Kevin Williamson helms those suspenseful moments very well. But the problem is, when you kill everyone, you narrow down the suspect list. And so by the end, it's like there's nobody left. It's gotta be these people, because we know it's not the main characters. Throughout the whole movie, they're trying to do this thing where they're trying to convince people that Stu might be back from the dead. Maybe he's actually alive. Matthew Lillard has returned. And he's obviously not fucking alive. Like, no, I can't imagine anybody watching this movie and thinking that he's alive. It's an obvious commentary on AI and deepfakes and stuff like that. That's very clearly what it is. And the movie keeps saying, like, it would be so stupid if Stu was alive. They say that over and over again. They're like, a franchise would have to be dumb as shit to do that. So they're not doing it. We know they're not doing it. So not only does that whole mystery feel like a bit of a waste of time, when you get Ethan Embry's character, who works at the psychiatric facility, telling this entire story about how Stu was there, we know he's got to be lying. And if he's lying, that means he's Ghostface. So that's obvious. And as for Anna Camp, I hate when mystery movies do this. If you've never noticed this before, after I tell you, you're never going to be able to unsee it, because this is what so many movies do, and it's so obvious. They will have a character show up just enough so that you know who they are and remember them, but they won't be in it so much that you focus on them. They'll have them show up a couple times here and there, not to really do anything. It'll feel like a waste of an actor, because they just kind of show up as if to remind you that they're in the movie. Gee, I wonder why that would be. I wonder why this actress is in this role, and why this character just has kind of shown up a couple times. Could it be because they're gonna use that character for something in the end? What could they possibly use them for? The killer reveal. So hers was pretty obvious too, after a little while, after everybody else started. I was obviously suspicious of everybody at one point, but after all the other people start getting killed, and I'm thinking, it's weird how Anna Camp has not been in the movie at all. At that point, it's very clearly her. She's had nothing to do. She's just been the mother of one of the kids, and there was no need to do that. You could have just made him a member of the friend group. You didn't need to write in a neighbor character for him to be the son of, unless you were going to do something with the neighbor character. So at one point, I thought it was the 2 of them, mother and son, because he had a creepy face, which is acknowledged in the movie. But I was also doubting that because they did that last time, parent-child, ghost faces, and then, yeah, that didn't end up happening. He got fucked. So from a whole story structure perspective, the reveals are bad, but also the motives. What the fuck are we doing? Why can we not write interesting motives anymore? Scream 6, I like that movie, but the Ghostface motivation was utter nonsense. It literally didn't make sense. And not even in like a, this person is crazy, so they're just clearly not operating on reality's wavelength type of thing. Like, this doesn't even make any sense for a crazy person to believe. Like, Scream 6 was ridiculous in the third act. This one, not as much, I guess. It's kind of a meta commentary, which is interesting because Kevin Williamson said that this movie was not going to lean into the meta stuff, which was very concerning because it's like, that's the point of Scream. If you're not doing that, then what even is this? He was lying. That was weird. That was a lie. I don't know why he lied. This movie's extremely meta, like, the whole time. And so you get the killer reveal, and it's basically a commentary on people who were angry that Sidney was not in Scream 6. Anna Camp had an abusive husband, and reading Sidney's book inspired her to fight back against her husband, and she killed him and got away with it. And so Sidney has been her hero and her idol, and when she heard about the Ghostface incident in New York in Scream 6 and found out that Sidney did not go, she thought her hero let her down. Like, this brave woman who's always going to fight back and kill the bad guy stayed safe and did not go try to fight the bad guy, and she felt disappointed in her. That's actually kind of an interesting idea. And the meta commentary is there. This movie takes multiple jabs at that kind of thing. That's been a discussion happening on social media where people say, like, oh, you're not a fan of Scream, you're a fan of Sidney. Because some people who hypocritically, like, you can go back and find their old tweets and see that they enjoyed Scream 5 and Scream 6, but now that Neve Campbell is the lead again, they're like, oh, I never enjoyed Scream 5 and 6. And it's just like, oh, okay. We can see the posts, but whatever, and people will accuse them of being Sidney fans and not Scream fans. There are people who are like, Scream is nothing without Sidney. Scream is about Sidney, not Ghostface, even though throughout all the movies and shows, Ghostface has been the one consistent element, not Sidney. I love Sidney, I love Neve Campbell, but eventually, you gotta fucking stop, right? Right? Eventually, I would think. Can you just have the same person do the same thing for 30 movies? We gotta move on at some point. I was fine with moving on. That angle is interesting, but what I hate about this, let's start with Ethan Embry. What the fuck was his name? I think he's the worst Ghostface ever. Carl doesn't count. I don't even know his name. We don't know anything about him. He was in one scene. He works at the hospital. That's all we know about him. And I don't even understand what his motivation was. He doesn't even have one. Like, Anna Camp explains her motivation, and she explains how she met him. But why is he going along with it? Why does he care? He's just crazy? In general? He's a Scream, a Stab fan? Like, is that it? What are you talking about? Why would you cast Ethan Embry and let him be a Ghostface? And be such a waste? What are you doing? Watch The Devil's Candy. That's a good Ethan Embry horror movie. And then you have Anna Camp, and the thing that really throws me off about this is it has been kind of a trope in Scream and other movies like it, where once the killer's mask comes off, they basically transform it into an entirely different person. Like, it turns out they're the craziest person on Earth, and they're just really good actors who are able to maintain a facade of normalcy for years in their regular lives. I thought the newest I Know What You Did Last Summer movie was really bad about that. That movie was really bad about everything it tried to do, but that as well. The killer was just like a totally normal lady, and then I'm a lunatic, and it's just like, okay, whatever. This is cheesy as fuck. And then this movie really pushes it. Not only has it just become a trope, but this movie is very egregious about it. This is just like a lady. This is a mom. It's like a soccer mom in a suburban neighborhood in Indiana or whatever, taking care of her son, who seems to be doing fine, doesn't seem to have any issues with her as far as we can tell. And actually, this whole time, while befriending Sidney for I don't know how long, was an unhinged lunatic whose brain doesn't even work properly. Like, no, I don't believe you. I don't believe someone that crazy was able to be that normal. No. And it's so brushed aside that she killed her own son, or at least let him be killed brutally. It's like, he was like his father, so whatever. Like, she was that level of crazy. I don't believe it at all. I don't buy it for a second. And then the third act itself feels really short, and it just doesn't feel very climactic. Ethan Embry gets shot in the head fucking immediately. What a waste. Why? And then you have the little showdown with her, and it's not bad, but it's just very underwhelming. The whole third act, I don't know what's going on with Scream third acts. I love the motivation in Scream 5. I genuinely do. And then after that, they were like, I don't know. We've done 7 of these. We're out of options. By the way, this is a totally random question, but I was thinking about it earlier. Are there any other horror franchises that have gotten as high as 7 movies and have never once used a subtitle in their titles? I can't think of any. I feel like Scream is the only one. So those were the Ghostface reveals. That was bad. Not good. The boyfriend was in the clear. I was doubting him the whole time because he's the boyfriend. And they did that in 5 already, where, the fact that he's the boyfriend makes you think, okay, well, they're not going to do that again. But then the point is that they do it again. I honestly thought they might do it again. I was hoping they wouldn't, though. But I was doubtful of him the whole time, for sure. And I apologize, my good man. You were just a nice dude. I really wonder how much of this script is left over from what they were originally going to do with this movie. Because the opening scene where the Ghostface burns down the Mocker house does feel disconnected. It is tied in because they want them to think that there's a connection to Stu. They want to get their attention. But it feels very glossed over. Like, Ghostface is already there at Sydney's daughter's school. Sydney already knows about that. I'm pretty sure before she even finds out about the Woodsboro fire. Gail found out about it, of course, but it's very like throwaway after that. It doesn't feel that connected. It's fine, and I liked it standalone as an opening, but it just makes me wonder like how much of the script was changed, how much was kept in from whatever their original idea was, which I would have liked to see. I feel like overall would have been better, but we'll never know. We don't live in that world. I was entertained by this movie because I've been a Scream fan for decades, and I'm not going to complain about seeing Sydney and Ghostface, even though I'm like, we need new things and it's fine to move on. I'm not going to complain about having Neve Campbell around. And I was entertained by the characters and the kills and everything. But if I'm going on a moment-to-moment detailed breakdown, there are a lot more negative things that I'm going to have to say than positive. I think it's an adequate Scream movie, but that's really not good enough. Scream is one of the most consistent horror franchises. I've always thought 3 was the worst one, and even that one's pretty watchable. And this one is one of the worst, if not the worst. I still think it's fine, but that's not really good enough. It shouldn't be fine, especially because of all the bullshit leading up to it. You're going to do all that and not give us, like, at the very least, as payment for all that shit, give us a great movie. And you didn't. You're going to fire your lead actress for speaking up against a genocide, speaking up for human rights, and you're like, well, we don't want any part in that, and you fire her, and that's bullshit. You're doing all this AI collaboration bullshit. Bad look, bad stuff all around. Neve Campbell's all like, I'm so happy to be back in the franchise. You're happy they paid you, which is not a criticism of her. Actors want to get paid, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, the whole reason she wasn't in 6 is because they wouldn't pay her enough. And so after they got desperate, they were like, we got to bring the fans back in. Get Neve, get Kevin, get Matthew Lillard, get all the old ghost faces and have them be AI. And there's a feeling of desperation to the whole thing, a little Rise of Skywalker-ish. Nowhere near as bad as Rise of Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker is like not even a movie. I don't know what that was. This is a movie. It's fine. But it's that feeling that kind of taints, kind of tarnishes the whole thing. That feeling of a little bit like, this is not where we were supposed to be. and I know why we're here, and it makes the whole thing feel a little bit weird. And there was one line that rubbed me the wrong way when Gale says, "I wasn't fired, they didn't renew my contract." Because that's what happened with Melissa Barrera. She was signed on for 2 movies, and they technically didn't fire her. They just chose not to bring her back for a 3rd, even though that was obviously the plan. They were going to until the Palestine posts. And that has been the defense from some weird people online who are like, "Oh, they didn't fire her. They just didn't renew her contract. It's normal. It's fine." It's like completely ignoring the context and everything behind all of it. And so putting that in the movie felt like a jab at that situation, like them trying to say, "Hey, we didn't even fire her." And it's like, you're really going to do that? You're really going to go there in the movie, like try to defend yourselves? I've heard some defenses of this by people saying, well, it's Gale who says that, and she's the protagonist, so we're supposed to agree with her. But like, it's clearly a reference. And there's no way to interpret it. Like, why would they, in the movie that they made due to them firing Melissa, why would they make a statement in the movie where they're like on her side? Like it's weird. It's a weird thing to say. I didn't like that line. I think the movie is a little confused in what it is trying to say, because it's also taking jabs at the people who were like enraged that Sydney wasn't in Scream 6. But most of the reason they were enraged about that is because you wouldn't pay her, not because you had like an artistic decision in mind. And there are some people who were just mad about it because they want to see Sydney fight Ghostface over and over again until Neve Campbell dies, and even then after. They want her to be AI, and they want to watch the same movie over and over again for 100 years. And those people are worth criticizing. But yet here you are, you do keep doing it. You do keep bringing Sydney back and doing the same thing again and again. Chad and Mindy don't really have much to do. I forgot they were in the movie. When Ghostface got run over, people in my theater cheered and clapped, and then Gale stepped out and they cheered and clapped again. That was cool. It was a cool moment. I forgot that Chad and Mindy were supposed to be in it. They stepped out too. They didn't really have much to do. They were kind of just there. I never feared for their lives because Chad is immortal. He proved that in Scream 6. That man is unkillable. You would have to chop off his head to get me to believe it. And then Mindy is the gay representation, so she's probably fine. Wasn't the case in Scream 4, but that guy wasn't open until the last moment. And he might have even been lying. We actually don't really know, I guess. But it's not going to happen. They weren't going to kill them. We know they're not going to kill Sydney. We know they're not going to kill Gale. We've done this song and dance so many times. This was the first Scream movie I was not excited for because I felt so bad about that. I made my most anticipated list of the year, and there was a new Scream movie. It should be on there, but there were so many behind the scenes issues, and it felt so desperate, and I was like, I don't see this one being anything other than just kind of a generic another Scream movie. And mainly that's what it is. I think it has some standout stuff. It does have some commentary that is worthwhile. It is meta. It has great kills. It's cool seeing some of these actors. It has some well-directed sequences. It has some funny moments. It's fun because Scream is fun. But it is just kind of another one. More than almost any of the other sequels, it really feels like they made this one just to make it because they were in a rough situation, and it sucks. It doesn't taint the franchise, but it does kind of suck that we're here. It could have been a lot worse. My expectations were actually exceeded because I went in very low and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. But it's not as good as a new Scream movie should be. And unless we get some interesting news about Scream 8, I'm not really going to be excited for that either. It's going to happen. This is going to make money. I don't know how much. It's on track to have a really solid opening. I don't know how word of mouth is going to be. People in my theater were enjoying it. I don't know if they enjoyed it overall by the end, because the third act might have tarnished it for some people. It might have not. And I think a lot of general Scream fans are going to have fun. But I don't know how strong word of mouth is going to be. I don't know if people are going to say, yeah, it's okay, it's just another Scream movie, or if they're going to really recommend it. I don't know what the legs are going to be like on this thing. So I don't know how much it'll make, but it'll make money, of course. It'll be enough to greenlight 8. They'll definitely do 8. But, like, what are you going to do? Hey, Sydney and Gale are here again. and they're gonna survive again. And Ghostface is, you could try a gradual transition away from Sydney toward her daughter. Maybe some people would be more tolerant of that because of the familial connection. Maybe. I don't know if Isabel May wants to be the head of a Scream franchise for 30 years. I don't know if they want to do that. And in terms of killer motivations, you're clearly running out of ideas. You ran out of ideas years ago. So what are we going to do about that? Like, you got to go absurd, but you can't go too absurd. You got to be meta, but there's only so many times you can do that. Like, oh, this is where Billy and Stu killed all those people. Like, we've done this. We've talked about this. We know you can only reference yourself so many times before it's like, all right, Jesus Christ, get out of your own ass. I get it. We're done. We've done it. We've run it into the ground. So what are you even going to do? You got to go all the way. You got to do like Cult of Ghostface. Although, how do you do this? It's such a tricky situation because the Stu thing, I'm glad they didn't bring him back. That would have been stupid. And it would have just felt like acknowledging the fan theory that's been around for so long and just doing what the internet wants. Even addressing it at all feels a little desperate. Like, that one line in Scream 6 was fine. Like, some people think he didn't even die. Okay, clever. Making a whole movie about it already feels a little desperate. Like, you're just scouring Reddit for the fan ideas and making movies about that. But it's better than the alternative. It's better than him actually being alive. That would have just been idiotic. And so how do you even do future movies without just leaning into all the theories that other people have talked about? Because people have talked about cults. Like, what if there was a whole group of 10 ghost faces? You could do it. I want there to be another movie with one ghost face who's just really brutal and efficient. I've had my own ideas. I've had an idea for a Scream movie. And 6 and 7 have actually taken some elements of that idea, but not capitalized on them and used them the way I would use them. I don't know if I should talk about it here. Maybe I should talk about it in another video. This has been long enough. But I've had my own ideas involving a singular ghost face. And just give me a good motive. And I don't know, man. Keep innovating with the kills, because Ghostface mostly just has a knife. He's not a very creative fellow, but the brutality was definitely ramped up in this one, which was good to see. I don't know. What a mess. I had fun. If I'm watching the Scream movies, I can watch this one too and enjoy it. But also, it has a lot of problems. And there's probably more that I didn't even get into. It's weird that Sydney didn't teach her daughter how to use a gun. I know she's not trying to be like Laurie from the new Halloween trilogy, where she's like a crazy person, but like the basics, right? Like a little bit better of a security system. Teaching your daughter how to use a gun. I know she's trying to promote life after trauma, not letting it define her. Cool. Makes sense with her arc from previous films. But there are some basics. Teaching your daughter how to use a gun would be acceptable. Like, come on. These have been my scattered thoughts. I think we shall leave it there. Let me know your thoughts. There's a lot to say down in the comments. Thank you for watching. Leave a like. Subscribe. This is not how I usually do videos, but I just felt like this is what I needed to do this time. So maybe you enjoyed it. I sure hope so.